This is a trick that uses fire, but not in the traditional sense. Let me show you what I mean. It's not a pick a card, find a card trick, so it doesn't matter what card we use, only that you can see that every card in the deck is completely different. In fact, let's use this card for this trick. Now here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hand this card out to the audience, and they are going to actually tear a corner off of this card, just like this. They actually do this themselves, so they tear a corner off the card. And also, if they have a lighter, they can even do the next part too, and it looks just like this. Watch. I'll take that lighter, and I'll just begin to torch the edge of the card, because as you know, fire has mystical properties. Just like this. Watch. Now that card's pretty hot, so I'm just going to let it cool down for a moment, because the next thing we need to do is take this corner and place it on top of the deck. I'll actually give you a better view, so I'll stand up so you can see everything. Watch the corner. If I just give it a bit of stick, so now you can see everything. You can see the torn corner, and also you can see the missing corner right here. In fact, let me give you a better view of everything. If I place everything on the top, put it back, look. That fire should be hot enough so that the torn corner begins to stick just a little bit because of the heat to the card. But watch, the trick's not done yet. The card still needs to heal fully for this to work. Watch what happens next. Just like that. Now that card is completely restored, and it even has the evidence that it was burnt and restored using fire. Now let's go and learn the secret to how this trick works. So to prepare, you're going to need to make a gimmick. Grab yourself a couple of duplicate 7 hearts. I haven't got many left, so I'm using this remainder piece. But you're going to need to tear the corner off one of the pip sides of the 7. So literally just like a 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch corner off one of the sides of the 7. Take this corner and tape it onto a full 7. And it's important that I only tape the edges that are not torn. So one piece here and one piece right there. One piece there, okay? So this is not taped, just these 2 edges. And now take a lighter, and you're going to hold it as far away from the card as you can, and you're going to burn this outline. Once you've done that, you're going to take this corner off, and you should see a clean corner and a bunch of scorch marks around it. Now the final thing you want to do is grab yourself a friction pen and literally draw around the edge of where that scorch mark is. Now, it might be a bit tricky, so take your time, but just draw like a shadowy outline where that tear would be. And it hasn't got to be perfect at all. And when you're finished, you'll have a card that looks like this. It's a playing card that's scorched and burnt all around a torn edge, and then this very clean corner almost looks like it's just stuck onto it with a big contrast between the 2 pieces. And that's going to really help sell the illusion in just a moment. Now let's learn how to perform the effect. So now that you have your gimmick ready, you also want the regular 7 hearts to match it. And begin with your deck face up. And this is the setup. You're going to take your gimmicked 7 hearts and you'll place it one down from the first face card of the deck. But instead of it being face up, you're going to turn it face down, just like this. And now with your regular 7 hearts, remember that the orientation of this middle heart needs to be the same. Okay, so I'm memorizing where that is. In this case, it's away from my body. I take the 7 and I place it just over halfway down in the deck, face up. And now, since this isn't a pick a card trick, I don't think it's important to force the card, especially since the audience, or we are going to uniquely market ourselves. So you say, look, this is not a pick a card, find a card trick. And as I say that, I'm going to block push over, making sure not to expose this face down card. So I just push a chunk of cards over and don't let this slip. So I say, look, this isn't a pick a card, find a card trick. So you can see every card is different. We'll just use any card from this deck because we're gonna do something pretty special to it. And as I do that, I aim to get to around where the 7 is, and I can take it out of the deck, again remembering the orientation of that heart. In this case, I need it away from my body. And now I can hand this out to the audience, or I can do it myself. It really doesn't matter. And I say, what we're going to do is tear this corner off, like this heart and this index off. So they can do it any which way they like, as long as you kind of want it like similar. So it doesn't really matter, but what you can do is just begin to tear the card in like a 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch corner off. Again, this isn't really super important. Now you say we're going to actually use some fire to give the card some magical property. Now you can let your audience do this again, or you can do it. I place the corner in my hand and I bring out a lighter or borrow a lighter. And if I'm going to burn it, I try and make the burn look kind of similar to the one that's on my gimmick. Okay, so you can see it's kind of scorched all around the edge. So what I do is take the lighter, or let them take it, or even let them light it and I hold the card. And quite literally, I'm just going to burn away around the edge of this card. Okay. Try and get it nice and blackened up so it matches. Perfect, just like that. You can now get rid of the lighter. So now I'm in this position. I'm going to take the burnt card. I'm going to place it face down on the bottom of the deck, out jogged towards myself, okay? And I'd say, actually, we'll do this face up to give you an exposed view. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it allows us to get into position. And with my thumb gripping the card on top of the deck, and my right hand pinching the torn corner between my thumb and index finger, my middle finger is going to come and grip the deck between its index finger like this, okay? And then it allows me to rotate everything into the palm of my hand, and I'm now in this perfect position to begin. Now at this point, you're gonna say, look, we need to place this in about the right position to restore the card. So I place it in this top corner, and if you need to, you can get some moisture off the side of the glass, you can dab it in some water, or you could just use a bit of saliva to stick this corner piece to the corner here. So just for the sake of simplicity, I'll just give the card a tiny lick and stick it here. And now, as you're displaying everything, you're going to start to do some sneaky moves. I'm going to bring this card up, and as I do so, I'm going to reposition the deck between my thumb and my middle finger and my ring finger of my left hand, okay? Now, as all the attention is here on the deck, my index finger is going to pull down on the first two cards at the bottom of the deck, okay? And you'll know if you've got this right because you'll see the face of a 7 pointing up at you. And what's going to happen now is a retention of vision. I'm basically just going to apparently come over and take this card and place it on top of the deck above this card. But what's going to happen is, as I do that, I'm going to slowly, or quickly even, push back these two cards to align with this one. But my hands are going to cover that moment just as it happens. So to the audience, they don't see anything. The important thing is that I keep this corner covered until everything's square on top of the deck. So I come up, I come over, and as I do, you'll notice my fingers are going to shoot these cards back. And I take all 3 cards, covering that corner, and I place them on top of the deck. Just like this. And now, because you have this really clean edge here, this clean card, and then this dirty burnt card with this little shadow from the pen, it really looks like you've done nothing and you've just laid it on top of the corner. And now at this point, it's all pantomime, really. You can pretend that it's starting to stick to the card because of the heat. You can now push over, making sure not to expose the hidden burnt card and drop the torn corner. But you can push over and you can say, look, it's actually started to stick, and that's because of the heat. It looks like it's almost back together, but we really need to finish off the magic. The very last thing you do is take that lighter back out, and we're just going to burn away what essentially looks like the shadow where that card corner is. Okay, so it looks like the shadow, we're just going to burn it away. This is the best part of the trick for me. You can even place this in someone's hands to finish off, which allows you to just ditch the deck completely cleanly, because in a moment, this card can be kept forever. So you can say, look, I'm going to hold on to these two pieces. You pinch onto the corner here, watch the shadow, or watch the area here, and all you do is light that flame, get a good look as you literally burn away that friction pen, and now it looks like this piece is restored completely back on, and everything can be handed out and kept. And when I say everything, I mean the lighter and this card. When you bring the cards back out of your pocket, just simply leave the top 2 cards of the deck, which is the burnt card in the corner, in your pocket as you bring the rest of the deck out to be examined.